Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Most Important Conversations meditation. We host these meditations Monday through Friday. We have two different types of meditations that we typically
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Most Important Conversations meditation,
which helps.
We host these meditations Monday through Friday. We have two different types of meditation.
Develop neuroplasticity, and the other one is a watcher-observer meditation. Before each meditation, there's always a talk, and we derive the themes or topics from these talks from our main program, Whole Life Architecture. Whole Life Architecture is a live, interactive, ontological workshop where participants are creating their life by design, so they're no longer having to tolerate a life by default. And the main theme of our meditations, and even the main theme of our work over at Whole Life Architecture and at everything else that we do in the Most Important Conversations, is liberation. Liberating yourself from your conditioning so that you can stand powerfully as a creator of your life by design, as opposed to merely tolerating a life by default because you are not standing in your power. This morning, I'd like to talk about the fact of how so many people in our world, most in fact, you may know this from even the people in your own life, in your friends, family, and community, many of these people remain resigned and unsatisfied. They are resigned to tolerate the life that they have, and yet that life is highly unsatisfactory for them. And they remain in a state of being resigned and unsatisfied because they don't have the courage to be transformed, which is what happens when you step into the unknown. Stepping into the unknown is, in and of itself, part of an initiation process. When we step into the unknown, what is required of us is everything that is not required of us in our day-to-day conditioned life. In our day-to-day conditioned life, we live in a highly predictable situation. We live in a situation where what neuroscientists and psychologists tell us, roughly 98% of what we did yesterday, we will do today, we will do tomorrow, we will do the next day. And so it doesn't require courage. It doesn't require self-trust. It doesn't require the development of our creative potential, which is sitting latent and undeveloped, unutilized, unaccessed for most people. And this is why they remain resigned and unsatisfied. The default motivation or intention of most people is to avoid discomfort and to avoid effort. And yet it is this very discomfort and effort that is what is required for us to move into the unknown, and it is also the thing that is required for us to create anything in our life. There will be discomfort stepping into the unknown and trying new things, and there will be discomfort when we move into a place of creativity, because creating comes from no thing. It comes from the unknown. This is the source of creativity. And so unless we're willing to move into discomfort, unless we're willing to move into effort, we will remain unsatisfied and resigned to live a life by default. And that is the state of most people. You know, they say that all that is required for evil to prosper in the world is for good people to do nothing. And yet so many people end up resigned and unsatisfied doing nothing in their life because it is safe, it is predictable, it requires no effort, it requires no discomfort from them. And yet, as a result of that, evil begins to expand in the world. whether at a local individual level within a family or within a society. And I'm not going to get into defining evil. I think it's the sort of thing that we all recognize when we see it. We've all experienced it in our own life. But this is one of the manifestations, if you like, of what happens when people allow themselves to stay stuck in a conditioned state. They remain resigned and unsatisfied, tolerating that state, and all the while, because there are a certain type of people out there who are disconnected, so disconnected from themselves, we call them sociopaths and psychopaths, that they end up determining the trajectory of the society. Because the rest of us remain unsatisfied and resigned, not having the courage to step into the unknown, to stand in our power as a creator. And so we're culpable for the state of the world. We're culpable for the state of our communities. We're culpable for the state of our families and of our own life. We are responsible for all of it. And yet all we do is end up sitting in our conditioning, remaining resigned and unsatisfied, tolerating a life by default, as opposed to stepping into our power and creating our life by design and being a force for good in the world. I think as we approach the end of the year and we start to, as usual, consider the possibilities of next year, we start to consider all that we accomplished or didn't accomplish, or more importantly, all of the aliveness we experienced or didn't experience in this preceding year. And it's natural for us to want to start to, contemplate the possibility that next year will be different, that we will do different things, that all of the things we didn't get done this year, all of the things we didn't experience, all of the ways we didn't express ourselves this year, all of the ways that we didn't create this past year, that somehow magically we're going to just do them next year. But this is not how it works, and it doesn't succeed for most people. In fact, less than 8% of people ever enact or take action around their New Year's resolutions, even though more than 90% make them every year. So this too is just one of those nice narratives we allow ourselves, a bedtime story that we allow ourselves to sit inside of, so that we don't have to address the discomfort of having not accomplished the New Year's resolutions we may have made last year. And so we just tell ourselves more stories. So my invitation this morning is to realize that until we liberate ourselves from our conditioning, and until we begin to walk the path of liberation, it is kind of like peeling the layers of an onion back. You find more and more and more, and you go deeper and deeper, and you become more and more liberated and more powerful and more connected to your creativity. And here's the rub for most people. It takes time. We live in a society where we want everything immediately. We have an 8-second attention span. We used to have a 22-second attention span in the 1960s. And so we want everything immediately. And you know what? None of us became who we were immediately. It took us years and decades. And so to transform and to recreate ourselves, how could we assume it would take anything less? We have a warped relationship with time, generally speaking. And it makes us impatient. We become impatient and we give up, or we cut corners, or we don't start altogether. I mean, how many times, if you just ask yourself the question, someone invites you to try a new experience, to participate in a new group, to be part of a new community, or even to just go to a party. And one of our first thoughts are, how long is it going to take? It's like all of us think we've got so much going on that we don't have the time to develop ourselves. And yet, for the most part, we know this to not be true. You just have to look at the statistics. The average person scrolls 5 hours a day on social media. The average person watches 4 hours a day of television. There's 9 hours. So this relationship that we have with time is really messed up and screwed and skewed. And it's the thing in our way. Because if we actually just put the excuses to the side, stopped worrying about how long something would take, and started taking the appropriate actions to liberate ourselves, to activate and access the Creator within, suddenly we would realize our life is looking very differently. Suddenly we would realize we feel different. Suddenly we would realize we have enormous amounts of power to affect change in our life in a way that aligns with us, in a way that aligns with our intention. We don't need to be relegated to living a resigned and unsatisfied life simply because we couldn't find the courage to be transformed, to become initiated, to initiate ourselves because our parents and our society failed to do so. In our consumer-based economy, we don't initiate people anymore. The purpose of life is to simply buy things. The purpose of life in our consumer-based model is to just consume life, and not just the consumption of things, but the consumption of time, energy, space, information, ideas, people. We're looking outside of ourselves for answers. We're looking outside of ourselves to feel whole and complete. And it leaves us resigned and unsatisfied because it actually takes courage to go within and to move through our own inner unknown. Who are we? What turns us on? What makes us come alive? It's certainly not the things that we are spending all of our time. I read a stat last week that said the average American scrolls 78 miles, the equivalent of 78 miles with their thumb on their phone every year. No one can say they don't have the time to transform themselves. This is a convenient excuse because what's really going on is you don't have the courage to face the unknown. You have all the time in the world. And so, as we move into this holiday period, a period that we usually obfuscate and distract ourselves with the trimmings of celebration, of gifts, and not that it's unimportant to spend time with friends and loved ones and to celebrate life. It's very important to do that, but we do that wrapped in packaging and wrapped in boxes and wrapped in consumer-based thinking. Who are you going to be in the new year? You get to choose that. Are you going to remain resigned and unsatisfied because you don't have the courage to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, to be transformed by the renewing of your heart, the activating of your heart, the activating of your emotions, bringing them back online? Are you going to not be transformed by stepping into the unknown of what's truly possible for you and having the courage to do so? And the initiation that comes from that. There's nothing to do. Stepping into the unknown and being with that insecurity, being with that out of control feeling, being with that unpredictableness. It initiates you. There's no special thing you need to do, because what you find when you step into the unknown is you face yourself. And you learn who you are. And you face all of the ways that you have lived disempowered. And you face all of the responsibility of having lived a life by default, and how it has let others down, how it has let you down, how it has kept you small. You face that, and in facing that, you are going through your own initiation and rebirth. But here's the good news: you don't have to do it alone. This is why we created Whole Life Architecture. It is an initiating program, reconnecting you to your power, reconnecting you to your creator self, your creative potential. You suddenly realize you are the creator of everything in your life. You've created all of the conditions and circumstances for your life to show up as it has. And that's not a blame thing, that's just an acknowledgement of how powerful you are. And if you can create a life that has left you resigned and unsatisfied, you can also create a life that turns you on, that excites you, that makes you feel alive, where every day is filled with new possibility. And even though it's an unknown possibility, because you've developed the ability to be with and thrive inside of the unknown, you lean into it. You're excited by it. Because you now have also, through your initiation, developed trust of self, and you know that you can handle whatever this unknown will bring you. That you have the inner knowing, the inner wisdom, the emotional sobriety and capacity to hold the feelings that may arise. You have the access to your creator self so that you can invent and create opportunities out of these possibilities, solutions out of blocks that might show up. You're fearless because you have trust of self. Even though you might experience fear, your state is fearless. You don't succumb to it. This is the courage we're talking about. All of this is available to you. In fact, it's not only available as though it were an outside thing, it's already within you. You've just never had the courage to look. You've just never had the courage to peel back the layers of your conditioning and discover your true power and potential. Let this year be that opportunity. Let this year be the year you take that action. I'm going to invite Mignon now to join us this morning for our neurosculpting meditation, and we will continue to explore this theme this month as we move into a new year. This theme of being able to initiate oneself by having the courage to be transformed by stepping into the unknown. And Jon, if you could join us now, that would be great.
Thank you so much, Chad. And hello, everyone. Today's neural sculpting meditation, we will take a look at creative possibilities in the space of the unknown. And along the journey, I'll be offering cues, toggles, and creative imagery. So you might hear me spell out words or dial up or down, or invite playful or even bizarre imaginings, all intentionally designed to guide your experience using the 5-step neural sculpting meditation process. A process that helps to calm the nervous system, prime the brain for creating supportive ideas, giving you agency in how you move through life. And with a regular practice, the meditation can be supportive in helping to reinforce desired outcomes and create lasting shifts over time. I hope it serves you in a good way. So let's take this time to go on a meditation journey. To begin, I invite you to orient to the space around you in this moment, to notice the structure beneath you, supporting your body. That might be the couch, a cushion, the ground. And orienting to the space around you, including what's in front of you. That might be a wall, it might be something else. And orient to what's behind you. And as you are getting acquainted with your body in this space of this location, you can let your mind go wherever it needs to go, because your breath is keeping you right here. You might notice the rhythm of your breath as you inhale and exhale naturally. As you are noticing the flow of your breathing, where do you notice it most? Maybe it's the moment that it moves through your nose, or you might notice it in the throat. Or are you noticing the belly and the lungs rise on the inhale and release on the exhale? Maybe you imagine that your breath can smooth itself out, expanding your body on the inhale and relaxing on the exhale as it empties effortlessly. You might choose to follow the next exhale, imagining it to disperse out of your nose and mouth, filling up the room around you. This is your breath, breathing in and out, consistent, comfortable, supportive. And your deepening breath can invite the body to let go of any gripping or tension in the muscles, finding their way to relaxation and comfort. You might want to drop your shoulders and give your neck a gentle stretch or roll out your wrists and ankles. In this one and only moment, your body has comfort available to it. Comfort of your breath, maybe comfort of the temperature in the room, maybe comfort of the cushion or chair supporting you. Your most basic needs are happening in all moments. And as all of this keeps supporting you from moment to moment, you are reminded that your creative mind can go wherever you'd like it to go. It might be fun to imagine you were a bird flying through the sky. What kind of bird would you be? A hawk with keen eyes, or maybe a tiny jewel-toned hummingbird? What do you imagine? Or maybe it's more fun to imagine that you are a puzzle piece. What would it feel like to connect with the other pieces perfectly clicking into place? And with your creative mind able to go where it wants while your body remains comfortable and breathing, you might find comfort knowing that you are the author of this meditation, a meditation to explore the unknown, a future space and time, possibilities. If you could bring your awareness to an area in your life where uncertainty has prevailed, perhaps the answers are not yet clear. Maybe there's a problem to be solved or dreams to be realized. What comes to mind? And because your creative mind is able, you get to write the narrative of this future story. What if you were to give yourself permission to visualize and create the space of possibility? A scenario for this space and time. What does your mind visualize spontaneously? This is an opportunity to play in your wildest dreams, maybe of abundance or love. Perhaps it's something else. Maybe you imagine the ideal health regimen easily coming together that truly works and brings results. Or perhaps you create the space to accomplish a lifelong dream of completing a project near and dear to your heart. Or maybe it's something else. And because this is your story and your creative mind can go anywhere it wants while your breath is breathing and your body is supported, what do you imagine if you give yourself permission to create in the space of possibilities? And if you could imagine a sound or vibration with this possibility, what do you hear? Maybe the sound of applause. Maybe a favorite tune is playing, or perhaps silence, or something else. And what is the perfect level of the sound if you imagine this? Is it full and robust at a level 10, like a standing ovation? Or is it dialed down to 1 at a whisper, a wonderful written review? Where do you dial the sound into? And because your breath is breathing itself and your creative mind is awakened, maybe you imagine in your mind's eye a color or colors representing this visualization. Maybe warm sunset hues or cool colors like blue or something else. And maybe there are textures, soft and smooth or bubbly. What does your creative mind notice? What would it be like to take this color, sound, vibrations, textures, the visualization, and put it in your body? Would you put it in your hands, in your heart, or your head? Or maybe imagine putting it somewhere else where it works ideally for you. What things do you notice when you place and merge with your creation, with your possibilities? Maybe a warmth that spreads or a depth that anchors you comfortably as you embrace this truth. How does your mind imagine it? Maybe your being experiences a pulse that moves through your body. Perhaps there is a brightness to your inner landscape, or it might be something different for you. And remembering that your body listens to your narrative, so too your body is listening to the way you relate to this wonderful possibility in the tones and colors. You might even notice a sensation. Where is your body most responsive to this experience? Maybe that's a smile on your face or a flutter in your heart, or it might be entirely different for you. This is how your body is relating and associating, and you get to remember that, marking it in your body's memory with a simple hand gesture or placement of your non dominant hand. And each and every breath can integrate this experience more and more until it becomes familiar, widespread inside of you, integrated. There might be a word that can also activate this experience for you, a word that you can say or write or hear or read that will remind you of your potential and possibilities. What's your word? And because your body listens so well to your body may remember this future story each time you say your word or make your hand gesture. And just as your breath breathes itself, even when you're not noticing it, so too this vibration can expand even when you're not noticing it. And you are invited to continue exploring this possibility allowing this visualization to become more and more real in your inner landscape. Even as you begin to notice the sounds around you, and you gently return your awareness to the space you are in, allowing yourself to gently come back, ending your meditation. And I thank you all for joining us today. I encourage you to take a few moments to journal about your experience and welcome you to return for our next meditation session. We meet each Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Pacific. Until then, wishing you all a gorgeous day. Be well.